One thing that's super important when it comes to your lawn care business is asset utilization. All that really means is what percentage of the day and the week and the month of the year are you actually using the piece of equipment. Now I'm standing next to this walk-behind aerator because an aerator is typically the thing that most lawn care business owners will buy too soon, in my opinion. They might have 30 or 40 lawns they do co-aeration on every year, when in reality you could do that in like 1 or 2 days of renting this piece of equipment. So in my opinion, it's not like you can't do the services that you don't have equipment for. You can rent those pieces of equipment until you're using them so much and your asset utilization is so high that you'd be able to afford and make sense of buying this piece of equipment. For example, this is going to cost you like $6,000 to $7,000 for a really well-built aerator. You can get cheaper models, maybe $3,000 or $4,000 for a walk-behind aerator, but if I can rent this thing for $70 or $80 a day, and I only do 20 or 30 of these in a year, I can absolutely rent this for 1 or 2 days a year, the cost being $150 to $200 for me to rent it for all my clients for the entire year. It would literally take 10 to 15, 20 years to recoup the cost if I went and bought this piece of equipment. Now, if I was using the same aerator for 5, 6, 7 days, 3 or 4 times a year for every single season, and I'm doing 3, 4, 500 lawns, and I'd have to otherwise rent this for 10 or 15 times, then it might make sense for me to go and buy and acquire this piece of equipment, assuming that my asset utilization is high. I'm using it a lot more frequently. Even things like dump trailers, if you don't do projects super often, and then you get all of a sudden a big property cleanup or a big mulch install that's once every few months, probably better just go ahead and rent this dump trailer. This dump trailer gonna cost you like $10,000. It's double axle, you're gonna need a bigger truck to pull it. Why not just rent this bad boy if you're gonna have a project that you only need the dump trailer once or twice every quarter? I don't wanna go buy and spend $10,000 on a piece of equipment that's gonna be sitting in my yard 3, 4, 5 days a week, and I only use it once in a while. So the determining factor of whether or not you should rent something versus whether or not you should buy it is how often am I going to use it? Also, the other thing you gotta keep in mind is sometimes if you're in a busy area, lots of population, a lot of people renting things, you might actually need equipment at a time when everyone else does. For example, air compressors. A lot of people rent their air compressors to blow out sprinkler systems. You might not even be able to get your hands on an air compressor even if you wanted to rent it. So in that case, sometimes I would go ahead and give a pass to someone that is trying to buy a piece of equipment they only use for a few days a year. But otherwise, if you use something less, in my opinion, if you're only using it less than once a week, you should just be renting it until the asset utilization, the amount of time that you're actually using equipment, is higher than the cost of storing it, maintaining it, and of obviously buying it initially.